It is December 12th, year of our Lord 2025. This is the Zooch and Wilde podcast coming off a great championship weekend. We got the playoffs coming up, but holy shit, Sherrone Moore. I mean, I doing this week, I'm like, oh, there's so much we could start off with. We have to start off. This is one of the wildest things one of the wildest stories I've ever seen like develop because it felt like it almost came in like stages, like 2 hour stages, Zooch. And we're recording this the night before the show is going to release, so it is Thursday, the 11th night right now, and just from what happened from Tuesday to today it is night and day, Zooch, with what the hell just happened. I don't even like. We're gonna get into what happened, but before I kind of read, like, where were you when this like news first dropped? Because I was like shocked.
I was at work and I was doing some paperwork stuff and happened to be looking at my phone and because I have for the different sports, I'll have the main ESPN or the main Yahoo, whoever guy, like their notifications on just so I get not even as much I guess yeah, breaking news. I guess you could consider breaking news, but I'll have Jeff Passan for MLB, right? And that's more so for trades, free agency, that kind of stuff. Just so you see it, and I'm like, oh, okay, you're not blindsided. And Pete Thamel, I think is one. Maybe it was what's his name? Pete Nakos from On Three.
Yeah,
One of them I saw it from, because I think I have both of their notifications on just to see different stuff. And those guys usually will have an article about oh, here's the hot board candidates, whatever, and you can just click on it and see. So I saw that, sent it to y'all in the group chat with a bunch of question marks,
well,
and
because
then
it was
well, it's
crazy
just
at
out of
first
nowhere.
because like he gets fired, and then like we're like, what the hell just happened? Like, the Michigan really were they really that pissed off? Like how the year ended and how like their offense looked? And then, like, what was it, like, an hour later, it comes out, it was like, "Oh, he was having, like, an affair with his staffer." And then I feel like that's when the world, like when something like that happens, like, my mind went to Petrino, like, story is end of time, and, like, like, 2 hours, Zooch, I mean, I don't know about you, like, people were busting off jokes in the chat, people were firing off stuff, and then 2 hours later, you sent the video or the picture, like, "Did this motherfucker just get arrested?" And that's when, like, things started to spiral into, like, "Wait, this isn't, like" it turned from, like, "Haha, meme, cunny, like, funny college football moment" to, like, "Holy shit, like, this is, like, a massive national news story."
Right? Yeah, yeah, you saw. I mean, it's just like you said, a tale as old as time. Man in a position of power. You being the head football coach at Michigan, you have power. I'm not saying you have presidential authority, but you have power. And having an affair with someone 20, 30 years young, whatever it is. I
And
think
then
he's 40.
the
She's about
aftermath
20
of it,
some.
like, I'm gonna read this report from Fox 2 in Detroit. It says, after it said after he and his employee at the Michigan football building were investigated by Michigan this summer, and they both denied any relationship. They knew about this. People in the news know about this summer, which there were a couple Ole Miss jokes I saw online. Mean, by the way, getting some parallels. But it turns out this guy, he was fired not for as much of like inappropriate. It was inappropriate relationship with the staff member, but that's not the reason he was arrested. The reason he was arrested is because after this news went public, he tried to go to that girl's house, threatening to kill her and himself. That I people are that's the part that I think people are completely overlooking. Like we had a coach that head coached in a year where they won the national championship, threatening to kill himself and a girl over a relationship that I like I I really am at a loss for I don't even know where my brain goes. Part of me like it's just a tough situation for what I would say the casualties involved, like the family of Sharon Moore. I feel so bad for. I feel really bad for the family of that girl. I honestly I don't like Michigan, but like the players who have to get caught up in this, like they're like now they look like that looks brutal. Um, I don't know. I hope Sherrone Moore gets the help he deserves, but like I don't want to say like a reap what you sow situation, but like I'll just say I'm glad everyone's safe. But
Yeah.
yeah, to every Michigan fan who goes like, "Oh, Sherrone Moore, I feel so bad." It's like, well, you can feel bad that like he wanted to harm himself. I don't feel bad at all that that guy got fucking fired. Like he knew exactly what he was
No,
doing.
and well, and the issue too with him now is if it had, and I'm not saying it's terrible to ever like cheat on your spouse, especially if you have, I think they have like 3 or 4 kids together.
And with a staffer, no less.
Yeah, but that is, and it's kind of terrible to say, but it's, in my opinion, 100% true. You can recover from that in your profession, right? Like if it had just been relationship with the staffer, it is terrible. But we've seen, I mean, Bobby Petrino got rehired at the damn place he did it.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
yeah, I mean, Urban Meyer's still on TV and was out after a game. And like, I'm not saying that he slept with that girl, but he was definitely like,
I mean, his fingers
your
were
wife wouldn't be happy
his
seeing
fingers were
that.
sleeping
I'll put it that
somewhere.
way.
His fingers were sleeping somewhere.
Right.
Sorry.
Uh, I mean, there's been all kinds of instances of coaches doing and players, just athletes, that whole thing in general of doing stuff like that. And he did something where it's like kind of different than, like, I'll say nowadays when it comes to like the domestic violence part of it, you know, the threatening the girl and stuff, it's real hard for an athlete to recover from that. Now, I'd say it's been that way kind of since the Ray Rice stuff. Like his thing happened, and I don't, I feel like, and I hate saying this, that if that hadn't been on video, he probably would have played longer. But it was on video, and it was horrific to watch on video. And since then, it's kind of different for, let's say, like a musician, right? Like a musician can do something terrible, and maybe they're out of it for a little bit, but they're still going to get, not only are they still going to get royalties from, like, I'll be completely honest, there's some different Kanye songs and songs that Puff Daddy is on that I still like. They'll come on and I still like listen to them, right? And like, all right, Puff Daddy's a freak. Which people have known my age. I'm 31. People have known he's a freak for a long friggin' time. I was talking to some younger kids at work the other day, and they had like no idea. They're like, "Why do you call him Puff Daddy?" I'm like, "That's what his freaking name was when I was growing up. Was like Puff Daddy or Puffy. Now he's P Diddy or Diddy, whatever people call him." Like same thing with Kanye West. His songs will come on, and I don't like listen to like all Kanye songs or anything like that. But there's songs that come on, I'm like, oh yeah, like I still like that song, right? And even back further to like,
You
I'm
Michael
trying to think of some other
Jackson.
musician. Yeah, Michael Jackson, even like the guys like, I mean, Tupac got arrested for like sexual
Yeah.
assault. So like
Probably not R. Kelly.
they,
R. Kelly might be the one that probably we got to go
you can't have it.
anti. I think we got to go anti R. Kelly for settle down at the Zooch. But no,
Right.
I
And like
totally
even Dr. Dre has a million things that he's done. But there's the difference is those guys are in a different position, like I said, A, because of the royalties. B, because you're just listening to a song for like 3 to 5 minutes or whatever. Sherrone Moore, I do think would have gotten another job if it had just been what it was originally. I mean, and there was rumors that like, and I hope it's not true and it's not funny, but it's so wild that all I can do is laugh. Like if he actually like DoorDashed Plan B to the football facility, that is.
yeah.
Did you see
Well,
that one?
yeah, allegedly, now this is all allegedly, right? These are reports, right? I don't know if it's fact yet, but allegedly, that's what kind of set off the like investigation this summer is because someone anonymously tipped like, well, why is like Plan B being DoorDash to Sherrone Moore's office. And to your point, it's like, there was a report by Pete Thamel saying he was acting strange before his firing, almost like he was going to get caught. And like you said, he gets fired, right? Because they find out it's like, hey, Sherrone, you can't be getting with a member, like a subordinate, like, and not disclose that information. It's an HR violation. Like it's just the most classic
Right.
HR violation in the book. Michigan fires him. Like you said, people probably laugh at him for a little bit. Maybe has to take a year off, and then he probably finds an FBS coaching job in
Well,
2027 after
even it's
the
and it
break-in and stuff. Like I, football should be the last thing on Sherrone Moore's mind right now.
yeah, he needs help. And it's like and I mean, to me, it's like an unforgivable mistake, like cheating on like, especially with kids involved and stuff. But like, I think, like when I was a kid, and I've always been up a big hockey fan, Danny Heatley, and it's not a long story, but it's kind of a interesting story. He was like one of the next, like on his way to being a superstar, right? Going to be on the cover of the NHL video game. Him and a guy that he was on the Atlanta Thrashers with were out drinking, got in his car. Danny Heatley was driving, wrecked, killed the guy. It was like a Porsche or something, going too fast, all that kind of stuff. He was going to be on the cover of NHL and was on the cover, and I actually had that cover, which is worth like a lot of money now. But they took him off. Like
Stupid.
back then people didn't buy games digitally. It was all like you got the disc and it was already loaded on the disc, all that stuff. And I mean, he never recovered to being like the trajectory he was on of being like one of the super like never even considered for the cover again, stuff like that. But he was still able to get back in the NHL and keep playing. You just had the stuff with the Hockey Canada team where, and then granted they got found not guilty in court. I still think they did stuff they shouldn't have done with that girl in the hotel room. But Carter Hart's back in the NHL. He's on the Knights. Like, yeah, my main point is he could have recovered from this, but now I don't know that he can with that going to the house. He's not getting he got terminated with cause, and they're like a judge is gonna uphold that. Like you were having a relationship with a staffer and like doubled her salary. I saw like on the
Hmm.
thing. It went from like 40,000 to like 90,000 or whatever. And it's just a bad look. And like you said, and part of me does feel bad that like he had like one of the best jobs you can have. And, you know, I don't want to say like, and I know Michigan like had for a while the born on third base with Ryan Day, but he was kind of in that situation too. Like the stuff with Connor Stallions or whatever happened, he's the interim coach, wins those games. Harbaugh leaves, and he's like, the next guy, partially because it was so late in the year because Michigan won the national championship. He gets a job and then just jacks it jacks it up for him, jacks it up for his family, messes up his family life. That girl is never people know her name now. She's never gonna be looked at the same. And like she has some fault. I'm not saying she has no fault in it. She definitely has fault in it too. Like both parties know what they're doing in that situation. Like, so it's just terrible. I will go ahead and apologize. We do have some tweets about him that made the
We
list
do.
that
We do. A
didn't
lot of
take us
these,
left.
I was talking to Zooch, I was talking to you before this, before we went and recorded tonight. It's like, I mean, some of this stuff is so wacky. Like, it's just like this, like the way that this news broke. It was like seriously, like I was getting this news. I didn't have the updates. I was like logging in on Instagram, and every single time, like the top one would be like the elite college football graphic, like arrested or like with
Yeah, it
Safford.
was
Like it seriously was. It felt like every 2 hours, like something new would drop, and something new would drop. I wouldn't be surprised if this weekend something else new drops. Football wise for Michigan, this throws. I mean, it's such a tough transition to talking about like seriousness to like how this affects like their football program. But I mean, with like this new portal, like a lot of Michigan players are probably going to be waiting on who the next hire is going to be. So like Michigan can't screw that up if they want to keep their players, right? Bryce Underwood's team has already said like they're waiting to see who the next coach is before he makes a decision on the portal. Um, can I throw a name out there? And I
Yeah,
don't think Michigan would do it because I honestly think they're too full of themselves. I think they should hire Jason Eck. I
see,
really
and
do. I like
I
everyone
really
in.
do like him. I just
Go
don't
for
know
it.
if he is going to be like if he's done like like have known about Jason Eck. We actually almost had him on the show like 2 years ago,
Yeah,
and I wish to God we had followed through on that because I was like, I just sent him an Instagram message one night, and he's like, "Yeah, I'd love to come on the show." And then I think he like started telling people at Idaho, like, "Hey, I'm going to go on the show," and they're like, "Okay, like we don't even know who these two idiots are." So like, maybe not. But I think he's like, I mean, and people don't like like the G5 is in a weird like when Arkansas is bad, like people know it. Mississippi State, Purdue, whoever. Like, we personally know how bad New Mexico usually is, and for him to get them to 9-3 is
That's a
and Idaho
miracle.
for that matter. Like,
It's a miracle what he's done
because
at schools.
yeah, like, it's insane how good he's been, and, like, I think they think they're too good for him right now, but I do think next year, especially if New Mexico continues on this trajectory, that he will be at, like, a Wisconsin or I'm trying to think of some other teams that will have a coach on the hot seat because he seems like a Midwest guy and partially the
Minnesota,
SEC. Like, yeah,
Minnesota, I
maybe
could see.
Minnesota Fleck were to leave or get fired. So, yeah, we'll see. I think they probably wanted Matt Campbell, like, too,
Yeah,
but it's I don't know. I mean, I just think they waited a little bit too long on it, and it's like kind of crazy how it just and how it happened when it did, like you said, when they knew about it in the summer, maybe everything just came to fruition at the beginning of this week, but who knows? Someone
yeah.
knows, but
I'll add,
we don't know the
and
full scope yet.
I'll end kind of like my thoughts on this with, Max Brown had a great video today, kind of explaining it, and I agreed with him wholeheartedly when he said, a college football coach is one of the fewest jobs in America where the failure of him is failure for everyone. Now, what you might mean, like, and he described it as like, unless the entire company goes bankrupt, let's say a CEO gets fired because a company's doing poorly. That means someone else is going to get promoted, right? Like,
Right,
that's usually how jobs work. Like, someone does bad, someone gets promoted. When a college football head coach does bad, maybe someone's promoted for the interim, but usually everyone gets fired. Like, usually, like, everyone gets fired because of, like, no
right,
one gets retained, and then players have to, like, relearn this whole thing. It's not like the NFL where it's like, "Oh, we have a long career." It's like, these guys got 4 years, especially when you toss in money involved too. They might be dipping. I found it really, really interesting from Max Brown, and maybe it sounds like Michigan kind of knew the rumblings. Maybe they didn't know the extent. Maybe it's just, like, a situation where it's like, Sherrone Moore, like, he was talking to that girl a lot at the bar." Like, we don't know what the extent of their relationship is yet, so I'm not gonna say anything like it's a fact. But it's interesting. It'll be really interesting to see where Michigan goes from here because they kind of missed out on a lot of guys in the cycle. If DeBoer goes to Michigan, though, I I don't know what I'll think. I don't I because I think that'll mean like I we're gonna save that for another time if that happens because I can't even like unlock my brain of my thoughts of
well,
that yet.
and you don't know like what like if he did, then you're gonna have. I mean, depending on when if it was the Boar, and, like, I mean, I think they're gonna beat Oklahoma. I thought they probably should have beat Oklahoma the first time. They just kinda played like shit. but Alabama's also really hot and cold. If it's like next week, I don't think it'll have a huge impact on the coaching carousel. That's pretty much done now in terms of head guys. But if it's like 2 or 3 weeks from now and like Alabama opens up, then they're going to seal someone. And then, like, let's say Kenny Dillingham goes to Alabama, then Arizona State, which is a better job now, opens up. And maybe there's a G5 school that they take, maybe it's going to
SDSU.
probably open up like 3 to 5 more jobs, this Michigan one. Like, because they're not going to promote, like, I mean, Biff Poggi is not going to be the head coach there. So,
All-time quote guy Biff Poggi. Haagen-Dazs ice cream, Cuban cigar, and then probably go to the hospital. Honestly, like one of the most relatable things ever. I've been there like after, I mean, you've probably been there after dinner where like you go out and you get there with your family or your spouse and like you just eat too much meat, but then like like you just want to lay down and like hang out with the people you love on the couch and you eat too much ice cream and then but like the food from dinner isn't fully digested and there's that
yeah.
moment where you go, oh my god, what have I done? And your body just starts
And you're in,
revolting. We have all been there.
yeah. It's good beforehand, after, not so much.
That's funny. It's so crazy. A story like this could be so big. It literally overshadowed the college football playoff bracket being set. So we finally have it set. Zooch, do you have it pulled up?
I do. I have it right in front of me.
How terrible did I do? I think I got maybe what I got Georgia, I got Oregon, I got
Oh, ours. I thought you meant like the actual.
oh no, I'm just going off the riff. I don't care about ours. Actually, in fact, don't look at my predictions. Um, but yeah, the bracket's finally set, and I don't want to beat a dead horse with the people who want the G5 out of the playoff because number one, I am a of the mindset of you sleep in your own bed that you made. I think whoever the Big Ten commissioner is said it best, where it's like, who said we all signed up for this. He's right. All the Power Five schools signed up because they couldn't in a million years think to themselves, "Oh my goodness, like a Group of Five team ranked higher than the Big 12 or ACC, like that would never happen." Well, guess what? It's happened 2 years in a row now. That should tell you all you need to do. So, to people who say that the G5 out of the playoff, I totally disagree with. Number two, uh, I appreciate Notre Dame sticking up for what they believe in, but I want to get your perspective on this as a quasi Notre Dame fan. I think it's a little bit taking your ball and going home. And by little bit, I mean it's a complete like textbook example of just taking your ball and going home.
Yeah, and I have a couple of thoughts on the whole thing. One, it's not like I don't think the argument should like I don't think Duke has an argument in this case, or really the ACC, because the ACC did get a team in, which kind of made no like when you really think about it. Yes, Miami beat Notre Dame. It made no sense that Miami jumped Notre Dame when they did, right? Like, why weren't they ahead of them before? To go along with that, and I've said it, I know to you for years, that whole ranking show, all that stuff, rankings in general, are kind of like when the UFC or boxing will stream a weigh-in. It's to sell stuff, right? You don't need to watch a effing weigh-in for a fight, but like if it's a big fight, people tune in because like, oh, like what are they going to do at like the face-off? Like is someone going to
Yeah.
shove the other? Like it's like it really is pointless. Like it's you could really have a way and be like, yeah, Floyd Mayweather was 145 pounds and Zab Judah or whoever was like 146. Like okay, like we got it. But you have the weigh-ins because it's entertainment. And that's what they're doing is trying to sell something. Same thing with the rankings. People tune in on Tuesday to bitch about the rankings. So I don't like back to my original point. I don't really think the ACC can say much. I do understand where Notre Dame is coming from in terms of like, and this is where I disagree with some of the people. Like when people try to compare this bracket to like the NCAA tournament, and you always get the people with the NCAA tournament who, and we love the NCAA tournament. Like we sit on, but we love the NCAA tournament because you can sit on your couch Thursday through Sunday of that first weekend, and you still have games Thursday and Friday, the whole next weekend too. But mainly that first weekend is you can just sit like we did at my bachelor party, sit somewhere and just watch games. There's maybe 3 to 5, and there's 16 each day on Thursday and Friday. There's maybe 3 to 5 most years that are actually really good games, right? The majority of them, like,
Oh, it's
are
terrible.
not good, right?
It's
They're
terrible. And
not.
then
It's
even the ones that are good on paper, you're like, wow, this is a brick fest between like St. Mary's and like it'll be like St. Mary's versus like a 12-seeded
Iowa,
Syracuse, and
yeah.
it'll be like two made threes in the first half.
Right? And you're like, oh, this is great because like maybe I took off work and I'm just like, and you like it because you have your bracket and like you're getting excited because you're like, oh, maybe I can make it through like this first day and be like completely right or like whatever it is. That's what makes it good. It's not as much the games themselves. And I've always said like yeah, it's kind of I like it, but it is kind of stupid when like 15 and 20 Texas Southern makes it and not like 19 and 11 NC State or whoever is like the bubble team, like one of the bubble teams.
But that's the way it's set up.
That's the way it's set up, and like I said, it is great. I'm not going to sit there and be like every game, and that's what I like. On both sides of the argument, people like pick and choose what they want to say. Like, I don't think anyone really thinks, and I think part of the problem this year too is because Ole Miss beat Tulane by so much already this year. People like look at that and the James Madison, like people look at that and they're like, okay, that's like crazy. Like Ole Miss beat them 45-10, and like Tulane is in it, Notre Dame's not. And the James Madison one, like they really didn't play. I mean, and I hate to say that because we both went to a G5 school who's been fighting for like 20 years now on like getting respect and stuff. But you do kind of look at it and you're like, okay, like, yeah, you know, they really didn't play anyone, but it wasn't their fault that the ACC screwed up their tiebreaker stuff by having 500 teams in their conference to make it to where, you're not in divisions anymore and you're not going to get your two best teams playing each other. So I didn't like really have overall that much beef with it, but at the same time, I didn't really have that much beef with Notre Dame opting out of going to the Pop Tarts Bowl because like those to me just don't like. I get it's not the best look, but I'm also like, it's gotten now to where with the bowl games, like I don't really think you're getting that much out of them anymore. Like Jeremiah Love probably wouldn't have played. There have been a few other guys who probably wouldn't have
But
played.
I would I would argue at like a macro level, like the band, fans, the kid at the end of the bench, like that's who it
Yeah,
affects. Like it doesn't affect any starters, doesn't affect any coach. It's the little things I think that it affects, and it
yeah, no,
affects
and
your.
I totally understand that. Like,
Honestly,
eh,
would you say people would have looked at it a little bit better if the AD didn't whine as much? If the AD just like came out and be like, you know what, we didn't get in, but we're not going to play in the Pop Tarts Bowl. Um, it's unfortunate about the committee. And I feel like a lot of like the hate doesn't stem from the taking your ball and going home per se, maybe, but it becomes the wow, you guys are really whining, and then immediately signing the like legal document that's like, oh, if they're in the 12, if they're in the top 12, they like have to make it now or whatever.
yeah, and that's what's been annoying about the whole thing is like people have been so blinded by like one way or the other how they feel about things. Like you have the idiots out there, and like Paul Feinbaum was one who's like they're not a bigger brand than the SEC. It's like okay, well that's 16 teams. Also, there's not another team in the country who signed that agreement to where if they're in the top 12, they're like Notre Dame is. I still think the biggest brand in the country. We talked about it before. They're like one of the only teams that has. You can go to any mall in America, and there is going to be Notre Dame shit there. Like you could go to one in LA. I can go to one here in Boise. I could go to and when I lived in Florida, there's stuff in Florida. Like you're not really going to see LSU stuff, right? And the mall in San Diego. You will see Notre Dame stuff. But I think I think it might be a good thing because you're starting to see like we saw. I don't know if you saw today, but like the LA Bowl is not going to continue, and not even as much that one. But I do think we got to a point, and I actually did like a senior thesis on it. There's so many bowl games now because ESPN needs time slots filled around the holidays when generally like starting next weekend, right? People are going to start being like they're off from work, off from
Mhm.
school, home from school, and they're like sitting around the house, like maybe they went out shopping and they're sitting at home wrapping presents, and you want like something to watch, right? So you put on the Pop Tarts Bowl or the Las Vegas Bowl or whatever, and it got to a point where I thought there was too many. Like I'm fine with bowl season, like, but I'm not gonna be like, oh yeah, I'm not going out today because Rice and UNLV are playing in the New Mexico Bowl or whatever.
It's
So
funny,
like
yeah. I mean,
I
okay.
I, I think if there weren't like I just don't really think like 6-6 teams should be going to like the whole sport has changed in general. Like it used to mean something, right? To get to like like they're all playoff games now. Like they were the New Year's Six, all that kind of stuff before. But it used to mean something to be like have 10 wins and get to a bowl game. Now you look at it and you're like, okay, like yeah, we're 6-6. We're going to this bowl game. Well, we're 7-5. We're going. You even have
Well,
5-7 teams going now, where it's
yeah,
like
I think
we're putting teams
no,
with
I
losing
agree with
records
you.
in
I
now.
think I think the bowl games, if in my opinion, I mean, except for the Pop Tarts Bowl, because with the Pop Tarts Bowl is just the renamed like is the Pop Tarts Bowl like the new Camping World like Citrus Bowl, or is that the Cheez It Citrus Bowl now? Which one is
I
the
don't even.
Citrus Bowl? My thing about bowls is that if it starts with an ad, it shouldn't be a bowl. So you have
Yeah, and
you have all the big bowls, right? Then you have like keep every second tier bowl. Sorry to go off on a little bowl tangent, but I mean, college football fans can back me up. The Holiday Bowl, Alamo Bowl, Sun Bowl, Liberty Bowl, Gator Bowl, Citrus Bowl, and then
well, even do
toss
you
in a couple
remember
of the big
like
ones. Like I think the Pinstripe Bowl, we have to keep that just for the meme, first of all. Which, by the way, did you see the Pinstripe Bowl matchup?
I didn't.
I think it is I want to make this. I think it might be. I saw someone say it's the disappointment bowl of the century. Yes, it is. Oh my gosh, I totally got stadium pulsed here. I can't believe Penn State versus Clemson. It is that isn't that the funniest thing ever? Penn State versus
Yeah, and
Clemson.
it's what's even like you were mentioning the ones earlier. Like I remember when I was younger, every like the Rose Bowl always, no matter what, was on New Year's Day in the afternoon, right? That's always when the Rose Bowl was. Up until about like when the Rose Bowl became like before we had the BCS national championship game, the Rose Bowl was like a quasi could it would switch out and be like one of the quasi national championship game, right? Like Texas USC was not the BCS national championship; it was the Rose Bowl. The winner was going to be the national champion. But on New Year's Eve, you always had like
Field
the
goal.
Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl, and it would be like 9-3 LSU versus like 10-2 Miami, and you're like, okay, that's a good game. Like two pretty good programs playing. Like maybe they're not in the Orange Bowl or the Sugar Bowl or whatever, but still two good teams. And now, like I said, it's you have like Liberty Bowl, New Mexico Bowl, famous Idaho Potatoes Bowl, like
Hey,
which
out of
I
the
figured out the
did
other
you
day. Miami played in that one year.
did you see the package they're offering though for the famous Idaho Potato Bowl?
I did not.
The fan experience package. Now, I want to. Would you get this package? I got to pull it up for you. It is it is a VIP. fan package at the famous Idaho Potato Bowl in on the blue. All right. It is $95. And here's what it includes. With this $95 Zooch, you get a game ticket, a private restroom, a premium seating experience, aka for those who don't know Albertson Stadium, you just get a backrest, a cash bar, and here's where it can get interesting. It's very vague. It says complimentary food and drink, beer, wine, and soft drinks. Does that
You
mean
know, I might
all
have
you
to
can
talk to
drink beer?
Troy and see if we want to
Yeah,
go to
is
this.
that is that all you can drink? Beer, wine, and soft drinks, maybe some hot dogs and pretzels.
Well, and
Because
it's
if
funny
that's
because
the
I've
case, like
actually
you can get licked there. Like you can just go. I mean, shoot, what times just you just have a day, pay $95. Shoot, if you have 6 drinks and a couple hot dogs and a soda, you pay for it yourself.
yeah. Well, and I've actually gone before because I haven't gone in years, but I used to go with a couple friends because you could always get like free tickets, and it would be like the day like your finals would be over, or whatever, and be like, oh yeah, let's just go and watch Ohio versus Wyoming. Like we don't got shit else to do, so like we'll just go over there. And we always left at halftime because it was freezing cold, and we're like, all right, this game is horrible. But yeah, it's overall the whole thing is kind of annoying me with just people picking and choosing and not looking at like the whole thing and being like, all right, like is it ridiculous to act like it's out of this world that James Madison got in over Duke? No. Is it ridiculous to like sit there and say that you think James Madison 100% deserves to be in over Notre Dame? Yes. No one on planet Earth 100% thinks that. The bowls have gotten out of hand. Like a lot of it's just like silliness, and it's taking away from the fact that I personally think, especially after Indiana beat Ohio State, that
It's wide
I
open.
honestly think
That's what I want to
that
talk about next.
any of those top 7 teams could find themselves in the national champ, and I truly believe that.
And I'm looking at this bracket. I think unlike last year, where it's like last year everyone was like, "Oh my gosh, the one side is completely more loaded." Like both these sides are loaded. Like there is no. I mean, Miami gets a rematch at A&M, right? Alabama gets a rematch at OU. Yeah, you have like the 2 Group of 5 teams playing, but then let's just say Oregon's got to play Texas Tech, and then Ole Miss has to play Georgia. Like there's no like kind of like Ohio State or Penn State last year, or I guess Penn State last year, where it's like, oh man, they've got the easiest paths in the world, SMU, Boise, then maybe like can miss out on Georgia kind of deal. Like I
Yeah,
I
well, and
I 100%
you
agree.
just brought
It's
it up. Like you have that. Even if you look at the first, and we'll just look at all this. Like you have Tulane, Ole Miss. I think most people are going to pick Ole Miss. Most people are going to pick Oregon. Alabama, Oklahoma is really interesting to me, and especially if Alabama wins. Like I don't know. I think Alabama could beat Indiana. Like that A&M Miami game. I think either one of those teams. I mean, Miami's defense is still really, really good. They've had their struggles at different points this year offensively, and with Carson Beck, I think Miami could make a run. Obviously, I think A&M could make a run. They were a game away from being undefeated. The Ole Miss Georgia, if they play again, Ole Miss was up 9 going into the fourth quarter in Athens, Georgia, and like granted, I think Georgia's playing better. Ole Miss had all the stuff with Lane Kiffin, and he's not there anymore. Texas Tech, Oregon, like I've been high on Tech. We've both been high on Texas Tech, like, and a little bit lower on Oregon, but I still think they're both really good. So yeah, it's. I mean, Georgia. If Georgia played Ohio State, like you don't like it's. I honestly think Indiana, Ohio State, Texas Tech, Oregon, Ole Miss, A&M, or Alabama could find themselves winning. I seriously think any of those teams,
right.
if things went if they played their best, could win the national championship. And I think if you looked at all of them and you're like, all right, like they all either have like Indiana's undefeated, right?
Hmm.
Ohio State's sole loss is to Indiana, who's in the playoff. Georgia's sole loss is to Bama, who's in the playoff.
Hmm.
Texas Tech's sole loss is when their quarterback was out. Oregon's sole loss is to Indiana, who's in the playoff. Ole Miss's sole loss is to Georgia, who's in the playoff. A&M had the loss at Texas. Oklahoma, I think their offense is stuck in 1927, but their defense is really good. Bama does have the 3 losses, and uh, but one of them's to Oklahoma, one of them's to Georgia. They're both in the playoffs. Who was their other loss? I can't think of.
Miami.
Oh, Florida State. Florida
That's
State. Uh, did I skip over? Oh, there's Miami. They had the loss to SMU and Virginia,
Louisville.
right?
Louisville. No,
Louisville.
Louisville. Louisville. I think.
Louisville. Florida State was the one who lost to Virginia when
Yeah.
they had just had started undefeated.
Also,
So
did
yeah, you look at it and
Virginia
you're like,
just have the most forgettable season ever for almost making the playoffs? Sorry to cut
that's the
across.
worst. That's one of those like one of the worst case scenarios because you like look at that and it's like like I've always thought those are the scariest type games. Like, and the same can be said for Ole Miss when you like crush the team and they really have not that much to play for, but you're play and like Boise State has been in this situation too before, where it's like, okay, we're 10-1 and we're playing Fresno, who we beat by like 30 earlier in the year. They're coming here. It's going to be freezing. Like everything is in our favor. If we win this, we're going to like the Orange Bowl, and you just have this weird feeling that like it's something is not going to go well in this game. It's going to be like closer than it needs to be. But yeah, I'm really excited for the playoff because I truly don't, you know, and for months people said it was Ohio State, like, and no one can beat Ohio State. And you look back and you're like, well, damn, the 2 best teams they played, which are Indiana and Texas, their offense couldn't do all that much. Defense still really good, but like you wonder and now Brian Hartline is gonna have his toes
Yeah.
dipped and doing stuff for USF. So, and it's not like Indiana. I mean, they needed an insane catch to beat Penn State. So it's not like none of these teams are unbeatable. And all those teams I said earlier, I think could win the whole thing. Like seriously,
Completely
could win the
agree.
whole thing.
Completely
So
agreed. You just gave y'all a little teaser about next week. We'll be going a little bit more in depth into the matchups. But we're gonna wrap up the show as we always do with the list. You guys
we
know
do
the one.
have 2030 we got to play too.
Oh,
I'm excited for this.
2030 is. Are
Okay.
you let it rip right now? Zoot. This is for those who don't know. This is Zooch just texted me like 30 minutes, but like an hour before the show, and he goes, surprise segment called 2030. That's all I know. So, folks listening, I have no clue what's going to happen. Zooch, the floor is yours for
Okay.
2030.
So 2030, I've listed off multiple coaches who have taken or stepping into a Power Five gig or went to another Power Five school. And your job is going to be to tell me if you think they will still be at that school in 2030, starting in 2030, because that'll be 5 years. The 2030-31 season will be year 6.
Okay.
If you think they'll still be at that school, if you think they'll be fired, or if you think they'll take another gig. So they won't be at that school, but it won't be because they got fired.
Okay. Let it rip.
So, Alex Golish, Auburn.
5 years. I I believe in Golish. I think Auburn is going to give him a little bit more leeway than Freeze. I think they've kind of learned, and Harson. I think even if that last year's brutal, I think they give him a little bit more leeway. I'm
Cool.
gonna say stay.
Lane Kiffin.
Gone, but not fired.
Okay.
I think he
That's kind of how
bounces.
I feel on him, too.
I think he bounces, and there's only two options. The only because LSU, it's what some people consider the best job. I think Lane is going to leave. There's a sicko scenario that Alabama job opens up in like 2 or 3 years.
If it opened this year and he left, I
But
would be
at
laughing
that
so.
point, I feel like even as an Ole Miss fan, you go like, you know what, you win. Like, you know what,
He would have to get out of Baton Rouge fast because like LSU fans might kill him. Ryan Silverfield at Arkansas.
fired, fired.
Fired.
Sorry,
Okay.
it's gonna be tough. He's gonna be like a great coach, but I think he's fired.
Okay. John Summerall.
I think he's. I think he'll still be there, but his seats will be real hot.
Okay, I'll put warm for him because there's definitely a chance I have this in 5 years. We can go back over it. Matt Campbell at Penn State.
This is tough. Penn State doesn't really fire coaches like that. But that was the old Penn State where like, you make the Peach Bowl and you win every other year, right? I mean, he's locked down for at least 3. So I think Penn State's one of those schools that is still traditional where it's like you get your 3 years to like build. And I think Penn State will get us 4. I think Matt Campbell will stay because I think he'll find success at Penn State. I also think that fan base, even though they are rabid, they're a little bit more accepting. Like, if Penn State makes the playoff, they'll let him stay around for 5 years. As much as they want to admit it's national championship or bust at Penn State, I don't think it is still. I think it's still just playoff or bust. I think he's still there.
Okay. This one's going to hit close to home. Tosh Lapoli, Cal. And this one's tough because if he is really
He's
good, you have to worry about him leaving.
he's gone for another school. It's gonna make me upset. I He's a Bay Area guy. That's the thing. He grew up in Walnut Creek, which is literally like I'm gonna find out where he went to high school. I think I literally Tosh Lapui High School. Tosh Lapui, literally he literally. Oh my gosh, what his freaking Wikipedia? So someone's got to update his fucking Wikipedia. He Wait, did you know he was suspended for telling a player to fake an injury? Yeah, it says he was suspended in 2010 for telling a player to fake an injury versus Oregon when he was a Cal assistant. That's hilarious.
Right.
Um, Where did this guy go to high school? Oh, he went to De La Salle. Yeah, so he went to he's a Bay Area guy, East Bay guy through and through. Ah, I think he might leave. I think he might leave for
Leave.
a better
Okay.
job because you
Uh,
gotta. I don't think he's a Midwest guy, but that USC job. I don't want to put anything in the world, but I think Tosh Lapui. I think he'll stay. It'll be one of those deals where like it'll take 3 or 4 years to build up like the program and like completely change Cal's trajectory, but then he'll do like a master Uguay like my work here is done and like go off.
go off. Colin Klein at Kansas State, his alma mater.
He'll he'll stay. He'll be around. Kansas State just doesn't fire coaches. Kansas State doesn't fire coaches.
Will Stein at Kentucky. I
Fired.
think he's either fired or gone.
Fired. That's Yeah, he's fired. Um yeah. I feel like if
Pat
we
Fitzgerald.
Michigan State, this might come as a surprise. I think he's fired.
Fire
I
him.
I think I think that's gonna be like at the end at the 11th hour too. I think it'll be like somewhere. I'm gonna call my shot mid-season. Year 5.
Doesn't quite make it. Bob Chesney at UCLA.
Shit. I want to believe it's gonna work. I don't know if it will. I Shoot. I think he's gone. I just don't know for what. I think
Okay.
that's one of those ones where it's kind of like UCLA is like a lot of ways like Ole Miss of like West Coast Pac, like Big Ten, where it's like, wow, this is a good school. It can pay you all the amount, but it's like, shoot, there's a school down the street, there's a school up north. Some people would say even Washington. You can win more at
Yeah,
Washington
it's
at UCLA. So I think he's gone from something, whether leaving or
okay.
fired.
James Franklin.
Stay, stays.
Stay.
I think he's pretty successful. I also think Virginia Tech is
And
also a school that, out of all the schools you mentioned, minus UCLA and even Cal, I think he has like the lowest expectations going in. Like Virginia Tech is dead. Like he is going to be given so much grace. If he is bowl eligible next year, like goes 7-5, they're going to throw him a parade. So I think he's there after in 2030.
okay, I agree with that one too. And lastly, Eric Morris at Oklahoma State.
Fired. Eric
Fired.
Morris fired. Fired, fired, fired.
Okay,
I think
so
that's the case because Oklahoma State chose a real bad time to be bad, and I think the Big 12, other too many non-traditional Big 12 teams, I think are surging up with the emergence of Utah, BYU, Arizona State, and you still have pesky TCU.
Tech.
You have Tech turning into a giant. Um, yeah, pretty much it's just those teams. Because I mean Iowa State's going to take a dip. I'm telling you what, man. Watch out for Brett Brennan at Arizona, man. I'll tell you what, man. Brett Brennan can coach ball. In Arizona,
It's kind of like he's kind of, and it's kind of interesting with the Arizona schools because I honestly think if Jed Fish had stayed an extra year at Arizona, they might have made the playoffs
they
because
would
they
have made the
had
playoffs.
McMillan and
Yeah.
like they were going to be good. I like how your thing turned out. You have four guys staying, four guys getting fired, and you had four guys that are going to be gone.
Are you serious?
So
Like perfect even
mhm,
split? I wasn't even trying to do that. That's all right. And usually that's how it works out, right? Like that's usually how the
yeah,
breakdown goes.
it's
All right, I
and
like
next year
that.
this time we can play 2031.
2031. Yeah. Shoot. All right. Well, we're gonna end this show quickly with the list. As always, this is just stuff we've seen online. We neither support nor condone this stuff. Um, Zooch, do you mind if I started off?
No, go ahead.
So I'm not gonna say that one because I still like having. Also, the video of Puff Daddy to every step you take needs to stop being quoted on some suspect stuff. I'll just say
Yeah.
that.
Well, also maybe don't when your best friend gets murdered. Maybe don't come out dancing like you just scored a touchdown and it wasn't good.
So my first one, it actually comes from at Sherrone Moore, who said from 2018 said, "What a great week in Paris! Such a blessing to be a part of the Michigan family. Off to the Ville for the weekend to enjoy the hashtag Kentucky Derby festivities at the Trifecta Gallery. That's awesome. That's an awesome time. Who's it hosted by? Hosted by at P Diddy
People are wondering, what did he do
tonight
at
to
the
start it
Kentucky Derby?
off. Not a good look." And just to say, the first quote tweet is just someone doing the LeBron video of the him snitching to the ref.
I love that video where he just points at the
So
guy.
yeah,
My
that's
first
from
one comes from Poppy Woman Neglector, and it just says Sherrone Moore talking to the women on Michigan staff, and it's just The Rock
yep.
slapping his calf, saying "Easy, big fella."
That's
That was my
that
favorite.
that
I love that
that was
video.
that was one of mine. Um, this next one comes from at Tyler Winfrey, and it's a video. But before the video, it says Michigan assistant in quotes. Hey, coach, want to go over and watch some film? Sharon Moore. It then goes to a Lee Corso video, and I'll let you guys watch it yourselves. And it's just this. I don't know if you can hear it, but actually, I'm not going to play it because, again, I'd like to have some dignity. But just watch it yourselves.
My next one, and this one isn't even really what the person said. It's their reaction that just killed me, and it's a quote tweet. But slime him out said, "Why blank surprise Sherrone Moore doing this behind closed doors? Don't forget these the same dudes. Fuck Xavier Worthy's mom, which made him decommit and go to Texas." And this guy just said, "Man, what?"
That's insane. That's something for the message boards. That's not X. That's not an X quote. You can't be putting stuff like that on Twitter. That is for the 24/7 message boards. My next one comes from at the NCAA portal, and it's just AI Sherrone Moore like Bobby Petrino with the neck brace.
That one was, yeah. I knew that one was coming. My next one is, oh god, I clicked on the wrong thing. This one comes from it's back to the Lane Kiffin leaving, and someone quote tweeted a Juice Kiffin post, the dog that Lane Kiffin left behind in Mississippi, and Juice Kiffin with a grill in his mouth after a Kewan Lacey game because Kewan Lacey wears a grill, and it just says, "We are dropping off Juice at the back door of Chow King." Okay,
Is that? Please don't tell me that's a local Asian establishment in the
I
city of
believe it
Oxford.
is.
Not
We
okay.
got to settle down.
Not okay. My last one is also not okay. Definitely the do not condone. So Fernando Mendoza had a great post game interview, right? He was going crazy, right? And his voice cracked. He goes, "We're the flipping champs." And someone commented the GIF of Tim Wall's son at the DN
Okay.
at the DNC. Again, this has to stop. Has to stop. That kid Fernando Mendoza was passionate about his team, man. All right.
He was. He was just really excited. I mean, you got to also think about the fact that freaking Indiana beat Ohio State. Like,
Yeah.
that is something I never thought I would say. Indiana beat Ohio State in the Big Ten championship.
Yeah.
I got
Insane.
two more.
Oh boy. It was a loaded week.
One is going back to our guy, Big Content Guy, who I don't know if people saw, but like Monsters Inc. had like their own version of the Monday night game. And Content Guy tweeted, "What if Mike Wazowski just had a full blown DeMar Hamlin situation?" Which was great. And then we had, and it's not a tweet, but everyone should see this.
Yes. Turn it up. Turn it up. For those
The
of you
best
who
video
aren't
of the
seeing
year.
that, I don't know if I could barely hear that. So I'm gonna do the favor of trying to play that into my earphone. We found this guy over the weekend.
Hold on, Coach Signetti. Anything because Coach Signetti is a piece of shit. He deserves absolutely nothing.
That guy is so mad.
Please watch the full video, everyone. It's a rabbit hole. Oh my gosh, I have his Instagram here. He was a former Ohio State marching band guy. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna pull this up because I really want you guys to be able to find this guy. He is. Gosh darn it! I got stadium pulsed again, man. Oh, J. Centcom, Jeffrey Robert Cox. And just so you know, he is posting stuff like this too. That's the kind of person we're dealing
with here.
So,
but overall, it was a great. I mean, the week ends with, and I mean that Duke Virginia game was absolutely. If I went to school at Virginia, and I know you're happy, because in our in recent memory you won a basketball national championship, but you're looking, you're like, oh, we just got to beat Duke. They're beating you the whole game. You tie it up going in overtime, all the momentum. Duke scores, and you run like the flea flicker reverse
Yeah.
straight to the Duke guy, and I'll just be
Yep.
like, you know what, like, come on, like that's
Yep.
just that
Chandler
was like,
Morris,
I'd
he's
rather lose by
inevitable.
20.
Chandler Morris is inevitable as always, but like that, like the season's over and we're in the bowl season now. So we appreciate everyone listening. We will be back next week for a show where we dive deep into these matchups for the first weekend because like we're fired up. We got playoff football. Um, we'll talk about spreads. We'll see if the G5 teams cover the spreads. But Zooch, anything else before we log off?
Nothing else. We'll have our playoff predictions next week, and then we'll probably do our whole thing next week because the following
Mm-hmm. The week will be
That
Christmas.
Tuesday through Thursday is going to be hard to do stuff
Yeah, Christmas. Yeah.
during. Don't know if I can tell the fam, hey, I'm doing a podcast on Christmas
Sorry,
Eve. So
sorry. I gotta talk about Brent Venables real quick. Sorry, I can't spend time with my cousins and father and siblings. I gotta talk about how how freaking Charlie Weiss Jr. Being allowed to coach the offense like affects Ole Miss's national championship hopes. So
which that is funny too, and like I get the concerns that like a bunch of those guys are back in the building. But what did you see, by the way, today? The video that like Lane Kiffin let someone record his conversation talking about Kewan Lacey and what is that running back's coach's name? Not Kevin Bolden, Kevin Smith, like coming to LSU, but like he was calling his sons. I think he was calling his son, but his son and one of his son's friends were on the other end of the line, and Lane Kiffin was like letting someone record it, saying that they're both
yeah,
coming,
was
and
that
he's like, "Oh yeah, Pete knows I'm leaving." That is like when it like, and I still think Lane Kiffin is like funny and like quick witted and clever and stuff. He does stuff like that sometimes, though. That I'm like, all right, you're getting on the borderline of weirdo behavior. Like that is like, why are you letting somebody record
someone? Let's just
that?
say, I hope the security at that week 3 matchup next year knows what they're into. As
Well, I hope he knows what.
as the Tennessee fan said, now you know why we threw mustard bottles at this man.
Well, I mean, and they got open with Clemson. Then I don't know who they play week 2, probably some crap team, and then Ole Miss. It's going to be real for him if they start at 1-2. Like real, like you're in it now, buddy. Like you're in it now. So but yeah, we'll see. Who knows? Like we'll talk some of that too. Like we'll start seeing a little bit more transfer portal stuff. I think over it opens the 2nd, so we'll start. You're already hearing some rumblings. We'll hear a little bit more as teams get eliminated from the playoff and
the portal opens.
Stuff like that happens. So we'll cover some of that, and we'll have our pretty soon. Our national championship reaction. We'll see who it is. It could be really, really interesting this playoff. So
it will. Well, thanks everyone who's listening. We appreciate it as always. We have appreciated this season. Thank you. We'll see you again next week.